Every moral promise.
So do you really believe that? Unless I can see it, I cannot believe it. Is that what you really believe?
Well, you got me there. No.
Good. So can't you be open to the possibility that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Paul and Peter, when they talked about having seen Jesus Christ risen from the dead, that possibly they were speaking the truth?
Yes, but to say it's possible is not to say it's true.
Okay, good. So then, if it's possible that Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, James, Paul were speaking the truth when they insisted that Christ rose from the dead.
Yeah, but the problem lies in the credibility of those documents.
You should start. What's your first question about the credibility of the document?
Who wrote it? What was their motive? Who did they know? What were they trying to achieve?
The guys who wrote it had no upside perk. The guys who wrote it were persecuted. They were martyred for their belief in Jesus. They died for it. Peter was crucified upside down. Paul was beheaded. Matthew, John were martyred. Not good perks. And yet they insisted that they had seen Jesus risen from the dead, that he was Lord. And they died not for political power. They died not for financial gain. They died for the one they were convinced was reliable and true.
And that's true, but so did Nazis for Hitler. No, they died.
Yeah.
They at the end suffered for what they believed in, and they stuck to it for this. The same principle applies logically. It's we're going to suffer for something we're fanatical about, but that fanaticism might not be the right fanaticism. It might not be true.
Okay.
They just were willing to die for what they stood for.
Okay. Now here's the difference. The difference is the Nazis died for a philosophy. Matthew, John, Peter, Thomas died for what they claimed to have seen.
But what makes
the
Jesus
dead Christ risen from the dead, which means they either died for what they knew to be a lie. And if you study psychology, you will find out people do not die for what they know to be a lie. People will die for a lie, convinced it's the truth. But if these guys make up and fabricate this resurrection of Christ, they know very well Christ didn't rise from the dead. They fabricated this. People don't do that. Just look at Watergate. Dean, Ehrlichman, and Haldeman, three brilliant American lawyers, lied about the Watergate scandal. Finally, when the pressure was on, and the evidence was the Watergate scandal really did occur, they all cracked. They were not willing to go through a few years of prison to cover up what they knew to be a lie. How much more unlikely for a group of first century guys to create and fabricate this lie that Jesus had risen from the dead and they'd seen him, and then be willing to die for it.
Well, to presuppose they manufactured it's not what I'm saying. They might have really thought they saw it. I mean, it's just a matter of, like, someone who takes acid thinks they saw a lot of things they didn't see. I'm not saying they would have manufactured it to where motive's the question.
Right.
It's a question of, did they see what actually happened, or were they deluded?
Now listen to this resurrection account also in Luke. While they were still, this is the disciples, talking about this, which the women had reported that Jesus had risen, Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, "Peace be with you." They were startled and frightened, thinking they saw a ghost. They didn't conclude, "Oh, welcome back from the dead, Jesus." No, they thought they were hallucinating, just like you said. They thought this was a ghost of some type of apparition. He said to them, "Why are you troubled, and why do doubts rise in your minds? Look at my hands and my feet. It is I myself. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you see I have." See, your question is very reasonable. It's exactly what the disciples questioned when they saw Jesus risen. Oh no, what was in our drink? Oh no, what's happening to us psychologically? And he deals with it and says, come on guys, give me something to eat and drink. Come on guys, grab hold of me and see. A spirit does not have flesh and bone the way you see I have.